Joran Sloot is expected to plead guilty this morning in federal court to charges of extortion and wire fraud involving Natalee Holloway's mother. Now, Sloot was recently extradited, you might remember, to Alabama from Peru in order to face these extortion charges. His sentencing scheduled for October 18th, which is today, my friends. So that came up pretty quickly. He's serving a 28-year sentence in Peru after he admitted to murdering a Peruvian woman back in 2010. Holloway vanishing in 2005. She was on that high school trip, a graduation trip in Aruba. Last seen leaving a bar with Sloot. Court TV's Kelly Craft gives us a look back at Sloot's past.
It has been 18 years since Natalee Holloway vanished while on a senior trip in Aruba, and 13 years since Stephanie Flores was murdered in Peru. Joran Sloot has been the #1 suspect in Natalee's disappearance, and he confessed to beating Stephanie Flores to death. Cole Thompson, a former Court TV senior producer, co-authored a book called A Portrait of a Monster. It profiles Joran Sloot and the many twists and turns in this case.
In 2005, when Natalee disappeared, I was working for Court TV. I was working with Catherine Cryer. It was just one of those huge stories that captured everybody's attention. It was like O.J. or John Benet Ramsey or Scott Peterson. 5 years to the day, almost the same thing happens again in Peru. And I just got incredibly lucky. Just through a series of acquaintances, wound up being introduced to the actual investigative team, the Red Ball team that was handling the homicide. And for some reason, they just took a liking to me.
In 2010, Sloot was in Peru where he met Stephanie Flores. But to get to Peru, he needed money. He got that money by allegedly extorting Beth Holloway, claiming he would take her to show her her daughter's remains for $250,000.
He approached the Holloways. He asked for this money. Now he's screaming entrapment. But he used this money to fund his trip to Peru, where another girl died. If he hadn't had this money, he would have been stuck in Aruba. This must weigh heavily on everybody involved.
Thompson was embedded with authorities in Peru. In the book, lead homicide investigator Captain Juan Callis Vargas tells Thompson this about the death of Stephanie Flores. The beating was overkill, savage, and the level of violence indicated that he had probably done this before. The level of violence had likely escalated over the years. Callan also described Joran as cold and calculated. Callan recognized that he was in the presence of pure evil.
He came from a fairly normal family, seemed like a child of privilege. Very early on, they figured that something was the matter with Joran, that he was potentially a monster. He beat one of his brothers nearly to death. Thompson
shared with us surveillance photos from the night in Peru when Sloot killed Flores. You can see Sloot and Flores entering the hotel. Then, Sloot exits alone. He also shared with us crime scene photos, an investigator's sketch of the crime scene, and Stephanie Flores' grave. A sad reminder that two young women who never met are so eerily connected.
Two families sitting there watching surveillance tape from a casino of their daughters and this man. The only suspect in either case.
That was Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft reporting for us. Now I want to bring in Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter, who's standing by live for us this morning in Birmingham, Alabama, outside the federal courthouse. Chanley, good to see you. Set the scene for us, if you would, please. What's going on behind you?
Well, I have to say, Julie, I haven't seen a scene like this in so long, probably not since the Murdaugh trial several months ago. There are tents. We're here in downtown Birmingham, as you know. This is the federal courthouse behind me. You can see the media out front, the front door, waiting on the arrival of the Holloway family. And then I see to my left just a line of paparazzi, a line of tents to my right of media from all over the nation. They're waiting to get the photo of the #1 prime suspect in Natalee Holloway's 2005 disappearance, Joran Sloot, as he arrives here to this federal courthouse for that impending change of plea hearing happening in about an hour from now. So this is quite different. I was here yesterday reporting on Court TV. It was like a ghost town. Nobody was here. But now it seems as though the world has descended upon this courthouse in anticipation of what will be a big day. As you know, Julie, we are not only expecting Joran Sloot to plead guilty to extortion and wire fraud charges that he was indicted for in 2010 and trying to extort money from Natalee Holloway's mother, Beth Holloway. But in exchange for that plea deal, he, according to the Holloway family attorney, is supposed to reveal critical details about what happened to the then 18-year-old and how he disposed of her remains. Will he tell the truth or not? That's another question, a worry of the family attorney for the Holloway family. But this is the only alleged crimes he has faced for the disappearance and presumed death of Natalee Holloway, so it is a big deal.
Absolutely, Chanley. One of the biggest cases in true crime, as you know, and at least this is some form of justice for the Holloway family, who I understand is supposed to be speaking afterward. Can you confirm that, Chanley?
Yes. According to the attorney, John Q. Kelly, for Natalee Holloway's mom, Beth, she is expected to hold a press conference out front, probably why the media is really already set up here to reveal those critical details. Because again, this is something that was a deal with the FBI to Joran to tell them these details. She will reveal what was told in private to the public after this hearing today. That is what we are expecting. That'll be enormous for the family. Of course, they know not to get their hopes up a bit, because this is the first time that he's claimed to have said this or that and hasn't proven true. So we will see, and we do expect her to make that statement out front after the hearing is over. And of course, he will appear in person in front of the judge. We do know that if the judge goes ahead and sentences him today to whatever is agreed to, that he would first serve his time in Peru, as he is serving a 28-year sentence for the murder of Stephanie Flores in 2010, a murder he confessed to, before he would actually serve out whatever sentence is handed down possibly today for him to serve back here in the United States. So that is all left in the air. Hopefully we will find out. I will be inside that courtroom to see him in person. That's going to be, personally, that's huge for me. Julie, I know it's huge for you too, because I'm sure you, 18 years ago, I was glued to the television screen when Natalee Holloway disappeared. She's only a couple of years younger than me. And to now follow this through to here, it's a big moment. I remember the last time we covered this, when he was extradited to the United States, Julie, that the family spokesperson talked about, again, seeing Joran in person. If we have, let's play that moment of what he said.
It was chilling, but gratifying at the same time, finally. You know, it's a long time coming. And again, we're thankful for Peru for allowing this to happen at this time. They did not have to move forward in a temporary extradition, but they cooperated with the U.S. government here, and we're thankful that it's going to bring some closure, some peace to the Holloway family.
And then finally, Julie, we did get our hands on a new document saying that the Holloway family, the mother, Beth, Natalee's father and brother, will be able to give either oral or written victim impact statements today. So that is also another big development.
Good, as they should be able to. Chanley Painter, thank you so much for that update. We'll look forward to hearing from you after this hearing takes place. I know 10:30 a.m. Eastern is the set time. We'll let you head into the courthouse. Thank you much. I want to bring in my guest now, someone who has known the Holloway family for 18 years. The family's private investigator, Mr. TJ Ward, here on the show with us this morning, and still with me, retired SLED agent and attorney, also a retired solicitor, Mr. Tommy Pope, with us as well, remotely in South Carolina. TJ, when we think about the mystery of Natalee Holloway's disappearance, as Chanley said, I think many of us can just harken back to watching the TV, where we were hoping we'd hear something in the days and weeks that passed, and we never have. Her body's never been found. We don't know how she was killed. How do you think she was killed?
I think they put something in her drink when she was at Carlos and Charlie's. When they went out to the beach, she had some kind of reaction to that drug or whatever was put in her drink, and I think something happened on the beach. I think he got paranoid. I think he went and called his father, and his father was very angry and told him to get out of there, and his father either took care of what needed to be taken care of to dispose of her or whatever, and that's where we are today. I know Beth spent 1 year there when Natalee went missing, and she took notes every single day because I've seen his notebook. I went through it. And so this is a very personal thing for the family, and it's been a long time. The Reuben authorities, the FBI, tried to get in and do what was necessary, like the car the last scene in. They tried to get into the car, and the FBI come here with their tools to be able to analyze, and the Reuben authorities put them off. And there was nothing there when they got the car. 6 weeks, I know, before they took the car into custody.
Right.
So that's not good.
No.
And but we were there, and I've worked with the Reuben authorities, and the same investigators that were on it in 2005 are currently still on the case.
TJ, so do you think the motive was sexual, a sex assault?
I think after he had known something happened and they had sex together, I think that when she got ill or whatever, I think he panicked and had to do something to cover his tracks. I really do.
So you think maybe the homicide was unintentional? Do you think the intention was drug her, sexually assault her, and then when something might have gone awry with the drug, then there may have been a homicide that he committed, albeit unintentionally?
Exactly. And he had his way out with his father being a judge in training to be able to do something. That's who he first called. And like his father told him later on after this happened, no body, no case.
Oh my gosh, it's so sad. It's so tragic. This family can't have her body to give her the proper burial and respect and love that she deserves. Tommy Pope, when I think about what's going on today and this information that the federal government is getting from Joran Sloot as part of this plea deal, what do you think they're going to try to do with it? Essentially, I'm wondering, might our government try to serve this up on a silver platter to the government in Aruba and say, prosecute him here, we've got the information you need, go for it?
You know, I think first things first, I think what we're striving for here is closure for this family. What scares me is the type of individual that would do the things you've already delineated. They're more about themselves ever than they are healing this family. So I hope it's legitimate information. Let's say that it is, in fact, legitimate information. Hopefully, as Mr. Ward said, the investigators are still on the case. Hopefully, they're there. You know, I heard Chanley say earlier, talk about the mom coming out and telling everybody what was said. Hopefully, there'll be some delay that allows law enforcement, because we live in such a strange world now. If you said, you know, she's on so-and-so construction site, I could see total strangers taking it to try to be part of the, 15 minutes of fame, going to that site, messing with the site. So I see first things first, the primary goal is, if this is legit, to give this family some closure. I think secondarily would be the prosecution, because hopefully we never get him from Peru. Hopefully he dies in the jail in Peru.
Right, Tommy, exactly. He can stay there, He's gonna have to go back there, serve that sentence. TJ Ward, back to you on this, please. The Holloway family, Court TV has learned, will have an opportunity to give some type of victim impact statement, as you would expect. Natalee's dad has become a dear, dear friend of yours. You said, through your work as their private investigator, you two have just become the best of friends.
Yes.
What do you think he may want to say to Joran Sloot?
I think as much as Beth wants to know, I think Dave wants to know what happened to his daughter. His daughter had such a future with college and becoming in the medical field. And I mean, it's a total loss for the family. And I think that he'll get his moment to say what he is. And hopefully, what was just spoken, that the information that is given today will be shipped back to the Aruban authorities to do something with it, and maybe we may end up getting a conviction for murder in Aruba in the same manner as it happened in Peru. But he's in for a real rude awakening after his 28 years in Peru coming to the U.S. He's got an open and shut door in Peru to be able to do what he wants. He got married, had a baby, and so on and so forth.
Oh, my gosh.
And none of that is going to transpire in the federal penitentiary here in the United States.
Yeah. All while he was behind bars, somebody wanted to be with him. Oh, my gosh.
Exactly.
I can't.